The purpose of this is getting it out. And that's what eclipse season is about, getting it out. Releasing old paradigms, releasing your old ways of being, releasing bad habits. Virgo, which this full blood moon lunar eclipse is in, Virgo represents habits, your nature. What do you do habitually, religiously? What do you do on a daily basis? What are you perfected in doing? You could be perfected in flaws. You perfectly do flawed things because it's a habit. And this eclipse, this lunar eclipse, is calling us to stop doing things of that nature. Stop falling into old paradigms. Stop doing U-turns. Thank you, El Rey. Stop going back to old pain when you're not there to reassess and readdress. You can't just go back to old pain to sit there. Either you're going to go back and revisit it so you can move forward, or you're going to go back and you're going to sit there and you're going to be mad as hell. Because why the fuck are you there? Are you going to do something about it, or are you just going to sit in it? Because why the fuck are you there? Why are you there? Nothing good happens in your life when you hang on to bad baggage. And that is my point of this conversation. Piscean energy, the north node is in Pisces, the south node is in Virgo. Piscean energy is dreams and desires. South node in Virgo. Habits, habitual nature. Let habits and habitual nature go. That's flawed. Take this eclipse season, hone into it. Take a bath, put salt in it, apple cider vinegar, alcohol, like a dried flower mixture, chamomile, tea bags, oatmeal, whatever your concoction is. Get in the bathtub, burn some cinnamon, burn some sage, burn some incense, use your crystals, charge your crystals under the moonlight, and most importantly, have a conversation with Yahweh. People want to go in so much on stop praying to the universe, stop making the universe seem like it matters so much. Where do you think that Yahweh exists? The universe is home. Do people think that Yahweh is just some figment that is in a water globe? No. We're the ones on a water globe. This is Yahweh's way. This is Yahweh. The universe is his home. Mother Gaia, Mother Nature, his mate, is what we get to exist in and experience. Virgo is an earth sign. Virgo says Mother Nature is here to support you, but Mother Nature is not going to support bad flaws and habits. Let it go, or you'll be met with an even worse outcome. Follow your dreams and desires. That's what Pisces says. But do it realistically. That's what Virgo says. Eclipse season is where you're going to find the balance of two. You're releasing and you're letting go, but you're moving forward and you're planning for the future. But what are you planning for? What are you moving towards? And what are you letting go of? And what are you releasing? All of that is also supported by the Mercury retrograde that starts tomorrow in Aries. Anyone with a Mercury in Aries, I don't advise you to get into an argument with. Your feelings will be hurt. Aries placements are harsh. Aries are the god of war, but they are action-based. And Mercury in retrograde in Aries is teaching us to remember to mean what you say and say exactly what you mean. And don't leave no parts out. Regardless of either way. Mean what you say, don't leave no parts out, and say what you mean, don't leave no parts out. Retrograde is teaching us to reassess, reinvest, spin the block, reevaluate, rethink. Make sure this is the thing that you mean to be intentional about by saying what you mean and meaning what you say. It is never advised to sign contracts, to make big investments, to make big moves, to start new commitments that will cause you to be attached for long periods of time in a retrograde season, because retrograde is where you need to reassess the prior commitments that you've already made. So I encourage you to reassess everything that it is you have been involved in, whether it be relationships or jobs, whether it be hobbies, whether it be a book, whatever it is you've invested in, rethink it, reassess it, refocus, reroute, because that's what it's calling for. That's what it's asking you to do. Reassess, revisit, rethink. I took some notes. I have readers that I enjoy, and I said I didn't want to forget anything on this. So let me make sure I have my notes. And just to reiterate, that's another one, retrograde, reiterate. You have a total lunar eclipse, a blood full moon in Virgo at 23 degrees. In astrology, the degrees, it's amplified the closer it is to zero. With this being in the 23rd degree, it's a looser reality, but it's still very, very much so present. It's telling us to bring in and to usher out. To usher out and bring in. This eclipse is highlighting the nodal shift. We just had a nodal shift January 11th. The nodes shift north into Pisces. My north node is in Pisces. If you want an example of a north node in Pisces, think of Rihanna. Rihanna's a Pisces, she's a north node in Pisces. Think of Jay-Z. Jay-Z's a Sagittarius with a north node in Pisces. Anyone that has a north node in Pisces right now, this is a highlighted moment, a fated, ethereal moment for you to release, let go, to usher in. As I said before, Virgo's shadow side is going to highlight critical thinking, like critical, not the critical thinking where you're like analyzing, critical thinking as in being a very harsh critic, perfectionism, overthinking, overly opinionated, hanging on to, clutching pearls. That's the shadow side of a Virgo, because Virgo represents purity. We want to allow ourselves to keep the ethereal aura of what the Virgo represents, but release the shadow side, because we've learned those lessons. And that's the most important thing, is you take the lesson and you cut it so that you can release what no longer serves you and take what serves you. And the service of the Virgo is the pure nature it comes from. It's the pure godly nature that it comes from, the Virgin. So take the message in its purest state, cut away the shadow, and let it go. That's the best way that I can tell you. The signs that'll be affected the most are going to be the mutable signs. So that's going to be Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini. I would encourage you to look into the houses, the planets, the placements that you have Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Gemini in. For myself, that is a lot of my chart. So I will be doing a deep dive into my own chart to see what I need to look for, what changes I need to prepare for, and how I can properly prepare, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I'm enjoying this warm weather because the bugs aren't out yet, but I see that the bugs are starting to awaken from their winter slumber. So I'm just like, okay, hey bugs, we can both exist. It's a big forest. You can stay on your ground and just let me have a little peace. We had a eclipse and a full moon in Pisces in September 17th of last year. This lunar eclipse in Virgo, the nodes shifted on January 11th, is like a seesaw. It's a balancing act. You see that? So in September 17th of 2024, what were you doing? What were you focused on? What was highlighted in your life? What were you dealing with? Right? Fast forward, we're in Pisces season right now. Revisit all that stuff from back then. Think about what's going on now in conjunction with what was going on back then. Then you think this is an eclipse, full blood moon, lunar eclipse in Virgo. That's the shift of the other side of the scale. I hope that resonates and that makes sense to you, because it can get tricky because you're kind of doing this touch and go, back and forth, teeter-totter. But when you learn how to balance, that's when life eases up on you a little bit. The lessons will still come, but when you know how to assess and properly assert yourself, you learn the lessons much faster and much easier. And that's the importance, is to know that there's no avoidance in life. And that's what we have to be aware of in this Piscean season. A Pisces shadow side is an avoidant, because things get so deep and so heavy, they retract, they detach. But the Virgo is calling us to show up. That is the pure state. Just show up. Detaching is avoidance. Avoidance is getting nothing done at all. The Virgo is not allowing nothing to get done. The Virgo needs the to-do list. We're asking you to minimize your to-do list. Try one thing a day. Just try it. See how it works. Sounds like a plan? I think it sounds like a plan. I mean, that's my plan. One thing a day. I'm going to do the one thing a day, because I can effectively say one thing a day will lead me to success. And I can still create my to-do list, but I can always just create my to-do list, complete the one thing. If I have the energy to do two, I will do two. But in connection to what I was saying before about my mother, women of color do not know how to live a soft life because we're not allowed to. We've never been allowed to. If we don't get it out the mud, if we're not struggling for it, then we don't deserve it. This new era is ushering in a softer climate for women. More specifically, I'm highlighting women of color because I am a woman of color. I'm a melanated woman. And I feel for my kind. I want us to have soft lives. I want us to enjoy our children and our husbands. I want us to wake up and stare out the window and look at our property, drink a cup of tea, let our kids go play with the neighbor's kids, stand out on the lawn, go pick apples from our garden, our trees. I want us to live healthy lives, not a life in a cubicle where you have to get it out the mud and come back the next day and do it again. That's not a soft life. You won't get anywhere doing that. You'll be miserable and then you'll die. Women weren't made to live on a 24-hour cycle. Women were made to coincide with the moon cycle. So I have weeks where I'm full throttle. I have a week where I'm chipper and creative. I have a week where all I want to listen to is emo. And then I have a week where I'm stuck to the couch and I can't move and I need someone to cook for me and bring me food. And when you don't respect those cycles as a woman, you don't get much done in your life. And as a woman of color, unfortunately, we're just not gifted our birthright because we don't take it back. This is a call to take your power back. Don't let nobody take nothing from you. It's your birthright to live a soft life. I want you to say that to yourself 3 times. Affirm that 3 times. It is your birthright to live a soft life. It is your birthright to live a soft life. It is your birthright to live a soft life. It is your birthright to experience protection. And don't ever let anyone tell you different. It's not fair that women of color have to not only watch my back, I have to watch the kids back and watch over the house because the men don't want us. They don't want to protect us. They don't want to provide for us. I pray that things get better. I'm showing up as my highest, most authentic self because this is my gift back to the collective. Showing that regardless of the path you take, you can always find your way. And when you step into alignment with your cause and what Yahweh has called you to do, you will find success. And success is alongside with a soft life. You don't have to live a life that is not congruent to who you are as an individual. You are allowed to just exist. You don't have to be someone that you're not to exist. You don't have to support other people's ideologies of yourself just to exist. That goes with the Virgo. I don't have to support perfectionism learned from someone else's paradigm. I can write my own story on my own dime. I can afford that for myself because this is my life. I get one life. And if I mess this up, guess what? I got to come back right here again and do it again. It's very important that you get it right on this go-round. Who wants to keep coming back trying to learn the same lessons? Not me. I want to move on along. I want to visit other constellations. I want to transcend other realms. I'm not trying to keep getting stuck on Earth. But before I leave Earth, I want to make sure I leave it better than it was when I came here. And that is my goal. That is my life path. Leave it better than you found it. This eclipse season is really highlighting trauma and shame that we've kept buried. I can say for myself, for these last 6 months, my trauma and my shame has been brought to the forefront. And I'm not embarrassed, but I am. There's two sides to every coin. And I will say I'm not embarrassed by my actions. I'm embarrassed by my affiliations, because I tell women this all the time. You are not what was done to you. You're not. The world and society will make you feel like you should be shamed for what was done to you. But the reality is you should be proud for the way you made it out of it, because a lot of people would not have been able to endure the things that you endured and came out on the other side. And this eclipse season is really highlighting that, where whatever you've been dealing with for the last 6 months are highlights of what began in March of 2008. Again, March 2017. Again, now. So those same, think about who was in those same narratives. Let it go. Let it go and let God. That is what this eclipse season is about. Let go. Let God. The past, we're letting go. The future, we're letting God. That's the only way that it can go. That's the only way that it can go. A lot of times people think that letting go and releasing the need to be in control is a failure, a surrender. But surrender is the greatest strength. Because in surrendering, you're letting the Most High know, I already knew I wasn't in control from day one. I don't belong to myself. I belong to you. And because I belong to you, I trust you to put me exactly where I need to be when I need to be there. It is only my job to train this vessel that you gave me, because the vessel is not going where you're going. Your vessel is going to run you to the ground if you let it. If you don't train it, that vessel is going to get you in trouble. Your human knows it's not going where you're going. So the human wants to feel everything. Feed me whatever. Like, fill me with whatever. I just want to feel everything because I don't have that long. I'm on borrowed time. That's the human. Your soul knows, if I don't get this right, I'm going to be right back in this situation. Follow your soul's calling. That is what Pisces season represents, your dreams and desires. Your dreams and desires are directly connected to what your soul is calling you to do and to be. You have to let go of the shame. Let go of the old paradigms, let go of bad habits, bad routines, let go of old relationships, anything that's lingered from 2008 March, 2017 March, into now, March. Because there is a common denominator in all of those time frames, and it is time to let go. I like to study the mind as much as I like to study brainwaves and things like that. And something that I've recognized that my brain does is, when I have a task that involves following my passions, my desires, my dreams, my brain does this thing that's separate from my mind. So my brain has the habits of going over the action, rethinking the action, cycling through why I can't do it, telling me these bad thoughts about why I'm not good enough. That's my brain's habitual nature, because I wasn't raised to believe in myself. I was raised to believe in society's okay. So my brain continuously goes through this cycle for 4 or 5 hours during the day. And by the time I'm done doing that to my brain, I'm just like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Because I let my brain tell me that I couldn't do something that I know I am a skilled shapeshifter in. So by the time it's my time to execute, my brain is tired because I've allowed it 5 hours to go through that cycle over and over and over again, and I've accomplished nothing but fatigue. But when you align, you think with your mind, not the brain. And your mind will tell you that what you're thinking about, what you're regurgitating in your brain over and over again, you can complete it in an hour and a half because you are a psychological shapeshifter. If you align yourself with your highest timeline, there's nothing you can't do. Humans are so much more capable and stronger than what society tells us and allows us to think. Because let's face it, when you're an out-of-the-box thinker, when you don't subscribe to societal norms, you're shunned. You're stoned. Even if you're just socially stoned. Being socially stoned is a big fucking deal with social media being present. No one wants to get socially stoned. Leave it up to me. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm just gonna be honest. Lord, forgive me for my language. I don't care anymore about any of that because I don't see anyone walking around that's happier than me. So that's what matters. I don't care if you have more money than me. I don't care if you're more successful than me. If I don't see you in a constant state of bliss and happiness, you can't tell me nothing because I've seen money come and go. I've seen status come and go. I've seen people and their talents come and go. But happiness is an inside job that will stay if you cater to it. And that's what I'm here to tell women of color. Cater to your happiness. Your happiness is not in unhealthy food. Your happiness is not in a man's pants. Your happiness is not attached to a purchase. We live in a consumerism society. Your happiness is attached to alignment. Your happiness is attached to the things that are not tangible, the things that take time to conjure up. That's what your happiness is attached to. That's why they say happiness is an inside job, because it takes time and dedication. If that job is making you unhappy, believe it. If your family is not making you happy, rethink it. Everything during this retrograde eclipse season, we also have Venus in retrograde, matters of the heart. Rethink it, revisit it, refocus, redirect. Whew. I encourage you. I encourage you all. I'm so thankful to be here today. I feel super blessed. I love being outside, and just having you tune in with me has been dope. I hope that some of the things that I have said resonate with you. And if you feel called to donate to my teachings, feel free. My cash tag is THEINFINITEGUIDANCE. We welcome those that are willing to follow the light and align themselves with the light at the Infinite Guidance. So that's going to be $, The Infinite Guidance, spelled as is. And in the tagline, please write donation, or I will have to send it back. So I appreciate your time, I appreciate your energy, and I appreciate you tuning in with me today. I am Alo with the Infinite Guidance, and it has been a pleasure. I wish you many blessings and alignment. Ashe.